Hello everybody, how are you doing? Today is, what is today? Today is Thursday, the 18th of June, 2020, and I've had a very busy week since I last was here, certainly on YouTube anyway. Just going to fill you in with a little bit of what's been going on, and then we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do actually. I've got 3 decks out in front of me, and I'm going to bring through whatever message wants to come through for the coming few days. We've got a new moon in Cancer. We have got a solar eclipse. We've got Father's Day, which I wanted to bring in the energy of Joseph for. And we've also got solstice, whether it be summer solstice or winter solstice. So my goodness, what a huge amount of things that are going on energetically. I don't know about you, but I've been experiencing some physical symptoms. Let's talk about the physical symptoms first. I'm sure we all have our own individual little things that are going on with our bodies. But I'll just say what I have observed within myself, and equally I've had backup from other people that are saying, oh yeah, you know, we're feeling this as well. So I don't think it is just me. It's just like some Archangel Uriel incense to light the way. The first thing, and I mentioned this earlier on in the week on my Facebook account, was dizziness. This is an energetic thing for me anyway. Obviously, if you feel dizzy, you need to, and it's unusual for you, don't rule out that it could be something medical that needs attention. I have to say that legally. But for me, I knew it was energetic, and but a lot of dizziness and real need to ground. Be in nature as much as possible, which has not been very much at all actually, because I've been moving my mum, come to that in a moment. So I've actually been inside, which has probably exacerbated the whole thing. But yeah, some dizziness going on. I think I talked about that in my last video. Attention to the Alta Major chakra at the back of the neck, attention to grounding. Also, I'm going to call it now, I feel as though there is a purge going on with regard to the sacral chakra. Now, there are times when I give you too much detail, and I realise that. So I'm not going to go into any detail. And for the men watching, apologies for the next 30 seconds. But those of you, but it needs to be said, those of you, you might remember I did a video maybe 6-7 months ago linked into Mary Magdalene and menstrual bleeding. And I can't remember the ins and outs of it all, but all I remember is the last time I really properly, from a work perspective, in terms of being in front of a camera, connected into Mary Magdalene, I had bleeding again. And obviously, you know, I'm post-menopause now, so all of that should be behind me. I did a video on it, we talked about it. We talked about a sacral cleanse that seemed to be going on, linked into whatever was happening at that time. Well, I kid you not, the day that I moved my mum out of her flat, which was a huge move for her physically and energetically, and for me as her daughter, bloodline, without going into all of mum's story, it's connected to me as well, this move. It's moving life on to the next phase. I bled again for the first time, again, since that last video, so 6 or 7 months ago. Cramping, all of that going on. And I just knew it was connected into closing out a cycle, literally closing out a cycle. But then for the creation of the new that is to come, the sacral chakra is our place of creation. And so I really feel as though you might not be experiencing it like that, or you might be having some hormonal or menstrual issues. But I do know that the sacral chakra is having a purge, let's put it that way. And it's all good. It's connected into what wishes to arrive. Because at the end of the day, how can we create anything new if we haven't let go of the old? And often when we're on our spiritual path, I think we can run away from ourselves. We can understand something mentally. We can understand something spiritually. We can understand something emotionally. But then it's the poor old body, the physical body, that is often the last place to get it. I often say this. The physical body is the last place for it to clear. And so I knew by that happening to me this week that was a physical sign that something has ended here, something wants to be birthed, and you're in that holding pattern. So I'm just going to say that because I think the sacral chakra needs a lot of tender loving care, particularly as we build up to these energies around this weekend. Now, I'm not a man, so I don't know how that might be playing out with men. But, you know, men have sacral chakras as well. And again, you know, the same thing applies. So it may be, let me just tune into this. Let me see if Joseph can help me with this, okay? Because I really want to bring in the energy of Joseph a few times through this video, because it is Father's Day on Sunday in the UK. And it's not ready yet, we are going to bring out a spray linked into Joseph, which is very overdue. I'm also co-creating this new Christ Consciousness deck with Jane Delaford Taylor, which we kick off on around tomorrow, around Solstice. And Joseph is going to be part of that deck. Anyway, Tracy has made me a Joseph spray. It's just like a little trial run and it's brilliant. So I'm just going to try and tune in firstly to what he wants to say about men and sacral chakra at this time. I see he's already talking and I haven't even sprayed it. Let me just, hold on. But in a way, it's like he's been mute. Joseph has been mute through centuries. He wasn't given a voice in the New Testament. He wasn't given a voice in the Gospels. There is very little known about Joseph, other than that when he found out that Mary was pregnant, he was going to leave, basically, because he assumed it was another man's baby. And then it was the angel that came to Joseph and said, no, you know, she is, we don't want to get into the virgin birth, but, you know, this is what has happened. And he stayed with her. And the one thing I learnt yesterday is the symbol of Joseph is the lily, and the lily stands for purity. And so I just want to bring that in. But yeah, he needs a voice, Joseph. So let me just see what he wants to say with regard to sacral chakra and men. This is a purging. For men, what's happening is there is a purging going on in terms of the way that they view the female of the species. And this is very deep. It's very, very profound. It links into female in all forms. So all ages of the feminine, basically. You might be watching this as a man, and you probably will be a very enlightened man if you're watching me. There's about 15% of you that are men on this channel who watch me. Thank you. So you're going to be enlightened by nature of the fact you're watching channels such as this anyway. But I'm sure you know a lot of men out there that have got very archaic, is the word I'm hearing, archaic attitudes towards women. The locker room type banter, you know, that probably still goes on. The need for some men to control women. Women also have their part to play in that as well, because some women, it's a very controversial thing to say, but some women want the man to be the one that brings in a level of security to the degree that it becomes controlling, okay? Sort of like, please look after me because I'm a humble little girl, woman who can't really look after herself, you know, and I need a big man to protect me. That's so old 3D energy. You know, if you're an empowered woman, then that is not part of the script for the new age that we're moving into. I'm a mother of 2 girls, and I always try to teach them that you need to be independent. You need to grow towards financial independence if you can. You need to grow towards emotional independence. You need to be your own person, you know, in the same way that hopefully then you attract in a partner, if they are male or female, that has the masculine qualities of empowerment and enlightenment within them as well. So there's something about this weekend coming in, which is a purge of the sacral chakra for women. It might be manifesting physically. It's certainly manifesting energetically, and for men it's also a time for them to question the role of the female. And I'm now, but to bring in the new template in terms of the type of woman that they might want to be with, the type of woman that they aspire to be with, the type of woman that they might look up to and admire, the type of woman that they want their daughters to become, the type of female role models that they would like to see. We don't want, female role models to come onto our world stage who are just sort of like, men dressed up in a different suit, with masculine qualities. We want the feminine to rise in all areas of society, be that our family, be that on the world stage. So there really is a big turnaround in terms of the way that we view women for both sexes that's coming in, is what I'm hearing. That's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Okay, because Joseph is now saying, because, this whole thing about Mary being meek and mild. Yes, that was an aspect of her psyche, but, make no mistake about it, Mary, meek and mild, Mary would not have got through the lifetime that she had in terms of birthing Christ, seeing him crucified, resurrected, that whole roller coaster that she went through in life, being just meek and mild, he's saying she was the lioness. Okay, she was the lioness energy. Christ is often linked to the lion, and he's showing me Mary as the lioness, and he's saying I was the keeper. But again, keeper not in terms of control, keeper in terms of the watcher. He's saying the watcher might be a better way to put it. The watcher. I was the watcher over these two, the protector. There's nothing wrong with being the protector. Again, that's not disempowering the person that you are protecting. We all need protecting, but equally we also can protect ourselves as well. But there are times and there are circumstances when you need a little extra help. So he's saying he was the watcher. Interesting. Okay, let's now move into whatever else wants to come through. I honestly don't know where to start because there's just so much going on. Let's just pull some cards and let's see what we get. I've got a deck that is now out of print. That's one of my favourite ever decks. I am going to do a top 5 or top 10 decks video at some point, and this will be in the top 10. I'm not going to say it because I can never pronounce the word right and I get told off. But anyway, this is the deck. It's beautiful. I know it's not in print anymore, but it's one of my favourites. Let's have a message, please. And we've got so many energies flooding in to help here. We've got Joseph, we've got Archangel Uriel, we've got Archangel Metatron in particular. Okay, Uriel, Michael, okay, Uriel, Michael, Joseph, Metatron. And they're saying we can speak as one. Because we all speak for God. We all speak for the Godhead. We all speak for that source light. You break us down into different frequencies and energies, but ultimately we are all one, as you are all one. So 4 cards for this coming weekend energy, and that's from Friday to Monday. Let's just see what's coming in. Strength. We've got the card of strength is coming in, and we've got the lion. We've got the lion. We've got the energy of the lion. It's just talking about that. So we're being given a lot of strength at this time. Spirit do that, because this is spirit coming in, giving us strength. It's like the energy is coming down from a different realm, a different place, as from above to below, because they know that we need some help at this time. So look what's on the bottom of the deck, because what's on the bottom of the deck is the devil. Okay. Now, the devil, you could say, is simply the devil. Okay. There is evil in our world. Of that we have no doubt. But I'm trying to here bring forward a message for you and the personal, at a personal level. So this is more about where are you feeling trapped? The devil is an energy which traps us, which binds us to a lower frequency. It binds us to a lower frequency. It traps us. It enslaves us. It makes us feel as though there is no hope, as though everything is hopeless. And what is happening is that we are being sent down this enormous strength from above to help us. There is a very strong link to the energy of Christ here as well, who I didn't include in terms of these energies that are around to help us at this time. So it's the Christ light energy coming down to help free us from this sense of enslavement that we have. I wanted to say that we have manifested in our life. And that might be a little bit triggering for some, but the truth is that how our life is often either what we have signed up for at soul level. It might be some karma that is playing out, that needs to play out. It's also a manifestation of what we have created via our thoughts over the longer term. And so we have to own it. We have to have responsibility for what is happening in our life at this moment. And if we can do that and claim responsibility for our life and the way it is, then we can also claim back the power and the strength to change what is not right, to change what is difficult, to change what feels as though, impossible, I'm hearing, to change the impossible, to realise that actually if you have created something that is difficult, you also have the ability to create something that is extraordinarily beautiful. And I personally feel as though the energies over this weekend, and remember these are just the introduction to them, because an eclipse energy, it will carry on over months, but it's like we're opening the door on a new energy, and this new energy to me feels as though it's about breakthrough. It genuinely feels as though it's about breakthrough of old patterns, freeing from personal enslavement. And that also includes, enslavement from your own shadow, which has been maybe dominating your life. So if you're somebody that feel as though you're enslaved by your own fears and your own anxieties, maybe you also feel enslaved by your own body. It may be that you've got particular problems and illnesses and diseases, and it's like I can't see a way out of this. Again, remember that the body has the most amazing ability to be able to heal itself. And that's a whole video in itself, but I believe it is the truth. So what we have created, what we have manifested in whatever area of life we're talking about, we also have the ability to change it. But we have the ability to change it because we have this energy of strength coming in, and it's coming in very fast. And look at that, you see the devil here. We've got this very, very bright sun. That to me feels as though it's highlighting the summer solstice energies that we've got going on, certainly in my part of the world. This, these long days, these long, I was going to say sunny days, although it's cloudy now, but these bright light days. It's as though they're illuminating everything that needs to be illuminated at this time in your life. Okay, I think most people at the moment are very, very aware of what's working and what is not working in their own personal lives. The question is, and it is the question, are you going to do anything about it to try and change the status quo? Because ultimately it is only you that can do that. I just talked about a doorway opening over the next few days. Let's just pull a card here from the deck, which is called Divine Doors. Let's see what we get. It's such a sweet little deck. Look how small they are. Such a sweet deck. So what door? Okay, I'm being told to do it for different things. Okay, so let's do the first one for, okay, I've got to do one for summer solstice, one for winter solstice, one for the new moon in Cancer. Okay, so firstly, let's do one for summer solstice. So those people that are celebrating summer solstice around the world, or will be, on the 20th of June, what is that doorway welcoming in? Whoa, goodness knows what this one is. It says Anthony's Call. What does that say? Hold on, I've got my glasses on. In thanks of my spirit, safe and sound, all things that are lost, so can be found. Anthony's Call. In things of my spirit, safe and sound, all things that are lost, so can be found. I assume that Anthony, I guess it's Saint Anthony, is the one that you call on when you've lost something. Now, this feels as though this links into lost parts of yourself, maybe scattered parts of yourself. I'm also hearing lost childhood. So those of us that maybe have had a lost childhood, maybe for whatever reason, multitude of different reasons, you never felt as though you had a childhood, or your childhood was tainted or scarred, or you were the victim of abuse, or I don't know, there are so many different scenarios here, but it's as though what was lost can be found. I'm also hearing the prodigal son analogy that Christ gave, which is to do with the returning home of somebody who feels as though they have been, through either their own devices or another, cast out of the family nest. It's almost like a return back to where they belong. Now that might be a family situation. I'm hearing for some people watching this, it feels as though it's a son or a daughter that might have been lost to whatever it is, I don't know, drugs or crime, or I don't know, an abusive boyfriend or girlfriend, and somehow they're able to make their way back. Now, does this mean that it happens on Sunday? No, it doesn't. It means that a doorway opens for them to find their way back to the family breast, is what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing that breast is very symbolic of the mother, you know, so finding their way back to the mother. Also, that can be expanded to finding their way back to Mother Earth. So some of these people that have been very lost and very abandoned have been very disassociated from Mother Earth. They haven't been grounded. I think these are people particularly that have been away, you know, on drugs or alcohol or any form of escapism or addiction, which has taken them away from you, people that love them. And there is an opportunity, and I'm only saying it's an opportunity. I can't promise that this is going to happen for everybody watching, but there is an opportunity, there is an open door here for them to return back and to remember that actually Earth is their home, that you may be their home, and that the pathway is lit. I'm just being shown this pathway lit by solar lights. And of course we've got we've got the solar eclipse, so it's almost like it's a garden path. And Metatron's showing me this, in fact it's not Metatron, it's Archangel Uriel. He's lighting this pathway back to home, whatever home is for this person or people I'm talking about, or this group that I'm suddenly tuning into. The solar lights are laid along this path for them to find their way back to home. It may also be back to home, meaning themselves. So if it's not a reunion with you, it's a reunion with themselves. It's a reunion with their higher self, okay? So that's very beautiful. That's one message. It also can be love, you know, love that feels as though it has been lost forever. Actually, again, a return to who you are ultimately meant to be with. a return to, it's a very twin flame type energy I'm tuning into here. It's a reunion in that sense. Okay, again, can't promise it for everybody watching, but for some, that feels as though this summer solstice energy is bringing that in. Anthony's call. In thanks of my spirit, safe and sound, all things that are lost so can be found. Remember that if you're watching me in a different part of the world and you're going to have winter solstice, you can still tune into this energy because we're all connected. It's literally just two sides to the same coin. So these messages are universal, okay? So just think about anything that you feel has been lost. It can also be a part of you that feels as though it has been lost. I've lost my creative spark. I've lost my passion for life. I've lost my enthusiasm. I've lost my voice, I'm hearing for some people. Some people feel as though, again, like Joseph was saying, or I was tuning into Joseph as this historical figure that never had a voice. Well, actually, his voice I'm going to give him back his voice, very much so, over the next few months. We're going to do a lot of work with Joseph. But so too you might have had a voice that has just been lost, but it's being given back to you. So in terms of relationships, this may well be that you find your voice. You find your voice to finally be able to say what actually needs to be said, to either move the relationship on to the next level, or to leave the relationship, or to send the call out for a relationship if you're single. If you're somebody that's been single for a long time, but you know that you're actually ready to get back out there, but you're a little bit scared or a bit frightened because it's, where do I start with that? It's a call out, to remember that actually there is a partner out there for me, and I'm sending out the call. That person that is lost to me now, bring them back. So there's many different things to come from this one card. And I love the fact it's just a very simple wooden door. It's not fancy, it's not ornate. It's also very grounded. Okay, so that's the first door message. Let's do one now for winter solstice. And my geography's not great, but I know that Australia and New Zealand are celebrating winter solstice, for example. I'm sure many other places around the world as well. Let's just have a look. So again, the message may well be universal, but let's just focus on winter solstice. So people that are going into autumn and winter time, how does that feel at the moment? I think it feels quite oppressive. I'm feeling as though, and I think this is partly because of the collective energy that's out there at the moment for everybody, where there's a lot of anxiety and fear of the unknown, particularly linked into virus and economy and everything else that's going on in our world. And I'm hearing storm clouds are gathering, but this is something that can be blown away, literally. It's like I'm seeing, there's a card here in this deck. I've got the Stephen Farmer deck, Earth Magic, and I'm seeing the card for, I think it's wind, let's see. It shows this face that's just blowing away the cloud, and that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, this one, because I'm actually hearing for those in winter solstice energy, gathering storm clouds. I hope I'm wrong, because I'm also being led to the escalation of tension between China and there was a confrontation up in the Himalayas. Let me just check. Is it India? I'm not sure. China and him, and it was in the news, literally. Yeah, China and India are fighting over an unhospitable strip of the Himalayas. For God's sake. I saw this news, when I woke up today, and literally it's like I only briefly look at the news because it's just so depressing. I just like to know what's going on. I saw that and I just rolled over in bed and just went back to sleep because it's just like, here we go, it's another thing, is it? I did some work looking at the Himalayas. Do you remember? It was that thing about summit fever, climbing to the top, being able to breathe. And now we've got two of these superpowers. There's some fighting going on, which could escalate. Well, okay, so that's just one timeline that it could escalate. What I'm being shown for those gathering clouds, which feel threatening, is this is what I'm being shown. This figure here, blowing it away. I'm feeling we have the power as light workers and guardians of this planet to blow away energy that is gathering, that is potentially lethal and dangerous for our world. Now, what Metatron is saying is what you don't do is you don't just blow it to another place, okay? It's a bit like if you've got a wasp, and if you've seen people at a picnic, when a wasp flies in, what they do is they bat it over to somebody else. That's not 5D to do that. You don't just blow it to another place to deal with. You've actually got to, Ashtar's saying he can help, you actually need to blow it upward, okay? It needs to be taken upward where it can be transmuted. It should not be sent downward, I'm hearing, because Mother Earth has got enough on her plate at the moment, transmuting the changes that are going on in our world that are extraordinarily huge at the moment. She doesn't need any more to deal with, particularly not around such a sacred spot as the Himalayas. So, the Himalayas are pretty high anyway by nature, so that they're quite a way up there already. So again, it's just sending them even higher up. So with this card, he's actually blowing it down, but I'm actually seeing the air being blown upward. Just have a quick look at that card. But it's also true for you in your life as well, that anything that is gathering apace in terms of problems or challenges, Metatron is saying give them up to God, okay. So I'm just trying to look for the little passage to see if there's anything else that I'm missing. I mean, the card is actually called activation. So it says the lethargy you feel is the result of a lack of activation. In other words, something that stirs your senses. This could be anything from walking outdoors, feeling the breeze on your body, or inhaling the different aromas that nature herself provides. I put, when I was just getting ready to do this session today, I put this card down, which is the card of Firestone, and it says, doing what I love nourishes me. I'm feeling as though, and this is probably true because, when autumn and winter set in, the darker nights, you've got to get yourself ready for winter, basically. And I just think, and it will probably be the same when we go into autumn and winter, if the world is still as it is now, I think it's going to be quite tricky. And I think we've really got to help ourselves, because otherwise it feels very oppressive. I'm just feeling these very oppressive, heavy clouds that want to come in. And the antidote to it is to find something you love that will nourish you. Doing what I love nourishes me, okay? Being with who I love nourishes me. Just feels very, very important. But also the element of air, which seems to be all the way through the last 2 years. We had this lack of air last year in terms of the air elemental, and the focus on the air elemental just wasn't there. We've now got an airborne virus that came in 2020. We've had all of the energy that's come in on the back of George Floyd's death and I Can't Breathe. We've now got this fighting in the Himalayas, the very much top of Mother Earth, rarefied air, purified air. And we've got this reminder that you can use the air element the air element can both bring something in, but the air element can also take something away, and vice versa. So using the air element consciously, using your breath consciously. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you in this video. You might have to take some notes if you want to. It's just there's a lot coming in, because I'm also being reminded now to talk about when you get very stressed, to remember don't shallow breathe, basically, because you know, somebody said this the other day, I think on Facebook, it's when we're anxious, when we're stressed, we start to shallow breathe. You've got to breathe, taking nice deep breaths in of life, of your life, into your body. Fresh air is so needed. I mean, again, I know this is a contentious thing, and I could just say this and then all of the comments will just be about this one thing, which, you know, we've already done the whole conversation about masks, so I don't want to get into it all. And I know in some countries around the world you have to wear a mask to go out. So if you have to, you have to, okay? In the UK it's a little bit more relaxed unless you're on public transport, for example, or around vulnerable people. But, you know, try to get yourself to a place, if you can, where you're not around other people, where you can take in big, deep breaths of fresh air without a face covering, you know? So take yourself off to, you know, I mean, Metatron's saying be creative with it as well. You might have to actually you might have to go to places at unsociable hours. You might have to get out of bed earlier to be able to do this in some places. You know, around where I live, it's always busy. It's a very, there's a lot of people where I live. I mean, the UK is very, it's full of people anyway, but we're a very overpopulated island. But my part of the UK is particularly so. So if I wanted to go to the beach and not be surrounded by people, I have to get out of bed earlier to do that, you know, or go after sunset, you know, when people have gone home. It's that type of thing. So rather than just thinking, oh, I can't do that because the law says I have to go out wearing a mask, well, be a bit creative with it. Go out at other times when people aren't going to be there. You know, that's just one message that's coming in on the back of that in terms of being able to breathe in fresh air. Okay, it's really, really important to oxygenate your blood. Also, to oxygenate your blood means exercise as well, physical exercise. You know, maybe the gyms are still closed. They're still closed here, but you know, there are pavements outside. You can still get your exercise, but again, it's trying just to be a little bit creative with it. Okay. All right. So I didn't actually pull a card, did I? I didn't pull a doors card for the. I didn't pull a doors card for the winter solstice. We just went off. Okay, let's pull one now. Winter solstice, one doorway. Show me the doorway, please, Metatron, for people going through winter solstice. Blue door. The art of life. That beautiful colour. It says, sorry guys, there's no... See how bloody, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I need to go to the optician. They're closed as well. There's no sacred light in the aura of life. Be bold in your skin. Let your love dance in sight. Hold on. The art of life. There's no sacred light in the aura of life. Be bold in your skin. Let your love dance in sight. I don't really understand that card. I'm just going to go with what it says, which is the art of life. What does that mean? That is a bizarre card. Blue door. The art of life. Oh, God, I wish I could see. There's no sacred light in the aura of life. Be bold in your skin. Let your love dance in sight. I have no idea. I have no idea. The only thing I will say is my lighter is the exact same match to the door. Look at that. Okay. So maybe it is just about, you know, what lights your fire, guys. Okay. Who lights your fire? What lights your fire? That is the art of life. I think that's the message. That's what I'm wanting to say. That's the art of life. To do what nourishes you, to be with who nourishes you. Who lights your fire? Who is behind that blue door? I mean, this is it's a naff song, but I actually used to love him. I was only about 12 or 13. I used to love Shakin Stevens. Shaky was like well, to say he was the English version of Elvis is, pushing it a bit, to be honest, because even Shaky would say, but he was a rock and roller, and he was phenomenally, can't even say it, successful in the 1980s, my era when I grew up. I mean, it was ridiculous. He sold millions of records. He was a Welsh guy, and he had a song called Green Door, which is why I'm talking about him, because we've got the blue door here. I don't know why, but I've got Shaky here. It's like Shake It Up, people hated Shaky or loved Shaky, but the thing about Shaky was he was completely and utterly unique. In an era where everybody was into electropop or goodness knows what else, he was Shakin Stevens doing rock and roll, from the 1950s. It was like, who the hell is that? What's he doing? And then he just disappeared, actually. And I think he went off and has lived a very quiet life in Wales, doing his own thing, doing life his own way. I think that's really why I'm talking about him. He was quite unique in his own way. Okay, but I want to know what's behind that blue door. The thing is, you're being encouraged to look at what's behind that blue door. I have to also say that the little trial bottle of Joseph that we've got at the moment is also in the same colour. Look at that. So there's a nod also here to maybe some paternal energy, to see what actually lurks behind a paternal wound. Getting serious for a moment. Okay, Father's Day coming up, maybe not in your part of the world, but it is here, so what lurks behind the paternal wound? I mean, God, that's a huge question, goodness sake. I'll pull some separate cards on Father's Day in a minute. Let's just finish off our bit on doors. We've got our Summer Solstice door, Anthony's Call, Return of What Was Lost. Winter Solstice, we've got the blue door, which is to do with the art of life, shaking it up a bit, being unique, being individual, maybe some paternal wounding. Let's now pull a card for new mooning Cancer and the solar eclipse, combined energy. So Sunday, new moon in Cancer and the solar eclipse. What is that doorway opening up, please? Metatron. It's almost like I just would like silence. It's like whatever is being opened up is big. Oh, don't show me that, please. Before I do that, I said what door is opening up? And do you know what I've just seen? I'm not saying this is going to happen on Sunday, guys, but I'm seeing that thing from, I think it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the door drops, the ship is there, the galactic ship is there, and then the door opens, and there is just white light, basically. There's just white light. And the card that I pulled at the same time actually shows a gateway with the white light. Do you know the bit in the film I mean from Close Encounters of the Third Kind? The trap door, whatever it is, it just opens and there's just this white light. There's this moment of suspense. It's like, oh my God, are they going to come down? Is something about to happen? And now my ears are going blocked. I've got blocked ears. Acclimatizing to a different pressure. Acclimatizing to, when you climb and you go higher and your ears start to pop, well, that's what I've got. So this is an energy of Ashtar and the galactics. As a species, we are getting nearer to a time to open the door to that reality that we are not alone. I was watching Brian Cox last night, who is absolutely brilliant. I love Brian Cox. UK scientist, for those of you that don't know who Brian Cox is. And he was talking about the, God, I wish I could retain information a bit better. He was talking about the creation of the solar system and how it all came into being. But he was also talking about our sun, and its place within the wider universe. And I can't remember what the number was that he said, but he said our sun is just one of, it was something ridiculous, like 200 billion stars in the universe. It's just one star. There's many different stars like the sun. And I turned to my daughter Sophie and I said, did you just hear that? I said, do you really think that, there is not life on other places hearing that? And she just looked at me and said, yeah. It's like, yeah, well, of course there is, And it's like, yeah, of course there is. So, I don't know. I'm not saying we see something this Sunday. I'm not even saying something we see something this year. But having said that, we are in 2020, which is the year of clear vision. And I do think it's becoming clearer and clearer that we are not alone. The message on this card says forgive and forget. Let's just take it away from galactics now, just back down to, more everyday personal life. So what's coming in with this eclipse and new moon is an energy and a need to forgive and forget, to let bygones be bygones, I'm hearing. I'm actually being shown a whole string of ancestors. So it's that whole thing about sins of the father and also blaming your parents or your grandparents or whatever for how you are in your life. There comes a point in life whereby you have to take ownership and responsibility for your life and how it is. And it comes with spiritual maturity, the ability to be able to do that, to own the good stuff and to also own the bad stuff. To own the fact that maybe you're in a situation where you feel, back to the devil, very trapped, very trapped, but also to realise that you may very well have the key to the present, Sal, but you're not choosing to turn the lock and get yourself out of it. I'm not judging it. I understand it, actually. But it's like we have to own the responsibility for everything that is going on in our life at the moment. Including the collective as well, by the way, because straight away I could hear some people coming back at me energetically saying, oh, but look at the state of the world and look at what's happening with the virus and blah, blah, blah. What happens at the collective level for everything is a reflection of what is happening at the personal. If enough people decide to change their energy, their personal energy, and say, we do not accept this anymore, or, we wish for something better, it will change at the collective. It can't not do, because everything is interlinked. But unfortunately, what holds sway for many generations is an energy of apathy. It's just like, well, this is the way things are. This is the way things are. It's the way it's always been, Bring it back down into a family situation. We've always had a problem with money in our family, or, my dad was a gambler, or, my father was an alcoholic, and, and so it runs in the family. It might very well run in the family. But what I have always been taught by Metatron is it takes one person in the family to put their hand up and say, it stops here. The buck stops with me. And usually it is just one person in a family who does that as well, by the way. And that person is the one who says, okay, I'm line in the sand again. Let bygones be bygones. Send healing to the ancestors. Send healings to the people that have done whatever they've done. I now am taking full ownership. I'm moving my family line into a new direction. Imagine if you thought of the decisions you have to make in that sense. I'm actually choosing to do something here because I'm setting a new course. Metatron's showing me, it's like, he often uses the analogy of transport. It's like you've got your hands on the wheel. You've got your hands on the steering wheel of the boat, and you're being given an opportunity with this new moon in Cancer and this solar eclipse to chart a new course. I think I've said that before to you, but again, it's coming around again. You're being given an opportunity to start to chart a new course, not just for yourself, but for your family and for the ones to come. So if you're just accepting something that you know is not right, that you know is not fulfilling, you also have to either take responsibility for, well, I'm staying with that, but equally, I know I'm also showing that to my children, that I'm settling, I'm putting up with this. It's all that life is ever going to really offer me, so I'll just stay where I am. Or you're showing them a different example. You're showing them that actually, no, I have trust and faith, I have belief, and I'm going to make the changes that need to be made in my life, not just for myself, but to show them by example. So should they ever be in a similar situation, they can remember back, this is what mum did, this is what dad did, this is what great Uncle Joe did. You know, within the family line, there is this strength, there is this ability to be flexible, to adapt to circumstances, not to be victim of circumstances. But forgiveness comes in with all of this, to be able to forgive the past. It talks about a ritual cleansing of pain and lies, arise and awaken and see a new sunrise. I think the cleansing is what's going on at the moment. Over this weekend, I think there's a big cleanse going on for the new sunrise energy to come in. So they're interesting doorways that are opening, aren't they? Very interesting. I quite like this one that's on the bottom of the deck as well. This doorway, it just says distant dream. And it says, the distance calls your heart to roam free. As you dare dream in, so must it be. And then it says, pass it on. The distance calls your heart to roam free. As you dare dream it, so must it be. Pass this on. Dare to dream. Dare to dream. Dare to see where your dreams will take you. Got the card for the new moon from the Stephen Farmer deck. It's got a couple, but it doesn't have to be a couple. It could be a family, it could be a group, it could be a tribe, it could be one person. But they're dreaming it in. They're imagining a better way. They're not trapped by this energy. They're finding the strength. They're finding the strength from that yellow light as well. Look at that yellow light there. And the yellow light on the card of the strength as well. Let's spray a bit of sunrise, new dawn. How beautiful that colour is. Sunrise, new dawn obviously is about heralding in new beginnings, and it's linked to the sun. So with yellow as well, there's a lot of ego that can come up. An ego can block you from sometimes following what's in here, what's within the heart. So you've always got to sort of be asking yourself, I think, around this time and over the next few days, where's my focus? Where is my energy? Is it coming from my heart that is trying to chart the course that I need to be on, steer me in the right direction, lead me to where and who I need to be with, what I need to be doing, that is in alignment with my highest purpose and the highest good? Or are the thoughts that are in my head coming from my ego, serving my ego in some way? That if I do that, I'm going to get some reward, or I'm going to get some money, or I'm going to get some sort of recognition. Don't really want to do it, but I'll have to just keep on doing it because it pays well. It rewards me well. That's what people expect. That's what I expect. That's who I am. That's who I am. It's brilliant to walk away from that sometimes as well. To drop all of it. I've done that a few times in my life, particularly linked into career and business. I've said before in previous videos, you know, dropping the whole identity of the businesswoman, you know, the career girl with the car and the title and the business card. Well, actually, I've still got a business card now. It's just got my name on, and I write my own title, and it comes from the heart, and I'm doing the work my heart wants to be doing, you know. Dropping those old ego attachments to whatever it is. I don't know. So many different circumstances. So there's this battle between ego and heart as well going on. So are we surprised that we're a little bit dizzy with all of this? There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on. It's big. Let's pull another couple of tarot cards. What are the areas we need to be working on? What are the areas we need to be working on? How many have just come out? There's too many. I've got about 6. I'm going to put them back. I didn't even see what they were, so what are the areas we need to be working on, please? Linked into these coming few days. What areas are we meant to be working on? The Ace of Fire. It's the same sort of message coming up again. Finding your fire, you know. Come on, baby, light my fire. It's all of that type of stuff. It's just, you know, what fires you up? What do you love? It's the same message, Firestone. Of course, you know. Where do you want to put your passion? Where do you want to put your drive? What motivates you? And what is dead? Look at that, it's on the bottom of the pack. That would be the 10 of Swords, I think. Winds. What is it? 10 of Winds. Yeah, be the 10 of Swords, ending. What's ended? And what can be birthed? What can be rebirthed? What does that phoenix that rises out of the ashes look like? You are the phoenix. This is the thing, you are the phoenix. It's exactly where we're at. You are the phoenix. The phoenix isn't some separate entity that's like, you know, oh, there it is. I wonder what it's going to bring. You're the phoenix. Own it. Own your own fire energy. But the thing is, I literally just looked out of my window. It's just started to rain. Oh God, it's just started to rain because this is the thing. It's like a lot of people, it's that the fire's gone out or it feels like it's gone out. You know, again, interesting, the sacral cleanse, you know, the sacral cleanse. Like, is there any fire in there actually? I don't know. You don't know till you've have cleaned it out, purged it, and then relight the embers, however you're going to do that. So how do we get the fire energy back? By doing what you love. By honouring what you love. If you don't know what that is, experiment, adventure. Try something new, experiment. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I just realised I'm doing that. That's like a stress response. I mean, this isn't just me. I'm picking up our energy. It's like, oh, you know, oh my God, really? Do what I love? How can I do that? How can I do that? Oh my God, back in my head, back in my head. Go to your heart. Let your heart tell you. Follow your heart. But equally soothe yourself as well, you know, in all seriousness. You know, this is big stuff. Because to really follow your heart, to really do what you love, sometimes takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts. Let's be honest, sometimes it's much easier to just to toe the line to stay where you are, to stay in the job that you don't particularly like, but you've only got another 3-4 years, and then I can, then I can get my pension and move on, or, and more so now, because economically, we're all in a very unusual place in our world. Well, all the more reason there needs to be a creative energy that comes in here to try and show that there are still opportunities, that there is somewhere that there's a way. What's the expression? Where there's a way, where there's the will, there's the way. Where there's a will, there's a way. But this guy, Prince, it's a good example. He was a total and utter individual. As was Shaky in his own way. This is the thing. It's, it's about being yourself. It's about being an individual. It's about bringing who you are to the world. It's not about following the crowd. The crowd are lost. The crowd are lost. And a lot of the crowd have got their head in the sand. This is a time for the awakening of your individuality and your creativity and doing it your own way. Because if not now, when? If not now, when? Thinking back over my life, all of the people I've been attracted to, I mean that in the wider sense of the word, friends, people I've worked with, people I've loved, people I've looked up to as role models and still look up to as role models, whether they're pop stars or whatever, they've all been individuals. They've all been people that have done it their own way. We all need more of that. In a world that's becoming more, sometimes you look at it, it feels like it's becoming bland. No, bring back the essence of the uniqueness of your expression of God, of the divine. 4 of Tides, 4 of Cups, moving away from a time where you feel as though you can't. A feeling of loss, a feeling of, the traditional interpretation of the 4 of Cups. I think I'm right in saying there's like 3 cups that are, have gone, they've been spilt, they're on their side, but there's 1 cup that's still remaining. Just go with that 1 cup. Go with the one thing that's working in your life at the moment. Go with the one hunch that you've got that feels as though that's the answer. It probably is, because that's you tuning into your higher self. That's not about a rash moment of, just stupidity. It's about a deep knowingness that nothing else seems to be working, but that does. Follow that. Nobody else gets me, but that person seems to. Go to that person, I don't resonate with anybody else, but I resonate with you. Listen to that person. Celebrate the cup that's still standing. Okay, got the card of War on the bottom of the pack. This is actually the card of the Emperor in this deck. I haven't used this deck for a long time, and I wondered why I was picking it today, but they've got the King of Tides. This is the father energy. And we've got the 5 of Gardens. There's something coming up here about the father. Okay, Father's Day, father, patriarchal energy, but it's the role of the father. So the way that they've depicted the Emperor in this deck is it's got an energy of it's linked into war, which is interesting in itself, isn't it? So let's just look at that for a moment. But I'm hearing that men are at war with themselves. Okay, men are at war with themselves. The King of Tides, who would be the King of Cups, is wanting to come in, is already present in many men, of course, but is wanting to come in as it's the new enlightened masculine, basically. But look here, we've got the 5 of Gardens. This is an energy of rejection. Men at war with themselves. Some men feeling as though they've been left out in the cold. Spray Joseph again. Let's see what this is about. Just want you to feel Joseph's energy coming through me. You can't probably hear it, but I'm suddenly becoming aware of the sound of somebody who's, I think they're laying a brick wall a few doors down. One of the things that Joseph's known as is Joseph the worker. There's an energy coming through here which is like, just get on with it. But not in a horrible, he's not saying it in a horrible way, it's like, just get on with it. And he's talking about building this new foundation. Put down your weapons, okay? Put down your weapons. Stop the fighting. Stop the war with each other. Bring in this energy, this peaceful energy. Remember, the male, the masculine energy is also within the woman as well, okay? It's within every single human being on this planet. Another card that goes with that Five of Gardens, left out in the cold. I'm hearing that song, When I Needed a Neighbour, Were You There? You know that song? I think is it a hymn or Christian song? When I needed a neighbour, were you there? Were you there? When I needed a neighbour, were you there? And the breed and the colour and the name don't matter, I'll be there. Be there, I'll be there. Wherever you follow, I'll be there. And the creed and the colour and the name don't matter, I'll be there. It's almost quite hard to separate Christ from Joseph because he's such a humble man, Joseph. But it's like Christ learnt a lot from Joseph's energy. The humbleness and the gentleness, the ability to be able to mix with all peoples of all creeds and all colours, came from, yes, the divine father, which is God, but also came from the earthly father, which was Joseph. Joseph's like this peacekeeper energy, this watcher. Put down your swords, put down the guns, put down the weapons. Enter in for the era of the King of Peace. I mean, Christ was called the King of Peace. So, on a practical level, what I'm being told to say to you is whatever relationship you had with your father or have with your father, good, bad or indifferent or absent, if you could try to come up with at least one thing, or ideally three things, which this Sunday, if you're celebrating Father's Day, or even if you're not, just do it. You can write down and you can honestly from your heart say, thank you, Dad. Even if all you can do is say, thank you, Dad, for giving me the gift of life. Even if I don't even know who you were. There's always something. Thank you for giving me, I don't know, the genes that I have within my body that make me able to, I don't know, be a poet or be a musician, or, you know, I inherited something from my father that actually was good and was worthwhile, or something that he taught you. Those of you that have had good fathers or have good fathers, well, lucky you, I want to say also. Sorry, battery died. I was just saying, those of you that have had good relationships with your fathers, lucky you, you know. That's a real blessing to have had that. But there are many that have had more difficult relationships with their fathers. And, you know, to those, I would say still, even if you felt that, to be perfectly honest, you felt that energy of abandonment, him maybe not being there physically or energetically or emotionally, still within that, even the worst case scenario, there still will have been some gifts that have come from that. Highest case scenario will have taught you resilience, will have taught you toughness, will have taught you that you can stand on your own 2 feet. Not saying it's the ideal way for you to discover that, but this is about gratitude for the gift of life. It's also gratitude for the masculine energy that you have within yourself. Whether you're male, female, whether it's a masculine energy that's very dormant or not. It's about making peace with the masculine energy. And how interesting that I'm bringing this information through on for new moon in Cancer. Cancer rules the home. You know, Cancer is linked into the feminine, really, energy. But yet we're talking about the men here. The men in the home, the men in our homes, or that have been in our homes, parental situations. Should we pull a doorway for fathers? Let's just watch. How should we phrase this? Let's pull a card for I'll just say for the masculine. Okay, I'm just going to pull a card for the masculine. Pull a card for the masculine energies. Deeper. You are not finished. You are not yet done. Dig deeper and deeper. The best is to come. Hold on. Pass this on. I'll repeat it. This is for the masculine energies. Deeper. You are not finished. You are not yet done. Dig deeper and deeper. The best is yet to come. Hold on. There are some masculines out there that just feel as though they can't do it anymore. Don't understand this world, don't understand my role in this world, don't understand the language, don't understand the energy, don't understand this new man thing, what the hell's that? Don't understand it. Just want out. Dig deeper. The best is yet to come. You're not always going to be left outside. And indeed, if you are left outside energetically, again, the message from this video is very much empower yourself to stand back up. Empower yourself to stand back up. Take responsibility for the life that you have, and then create the life that you wish to have in the future. There are many people on this channel that have done that have risen up literally from the gutter, that have risen up from nothing, that have risen up from, terrible abusive marriages, terrible abusive childhoods, redundancy, financial hardship. You're still here, you're still standing, terrible health, you're still standing. And it's not just that you're still standing, you're now being asked to take some new steps forward and build what you wish for the coming cycle. We're closing out cycles here for the new to come in. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to put those cards to one side, and I'm just going to draw a card from, I have got the Earth Magic deck out here. And I haven't actually shuffled it just to bring one through. I showed you this card earlier. And I also showed you the new moon card. But let's just see if anything else wants to come through from this deck, because I felt called to use it today. So this is the Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer. For the coming few days, weekend. Waterfall, effortlessness. I love that card. It's about going with the flow. These changes that are coming in, and the healing that's taking place, and the purging and the cleansing that's going on, and the closing out of cycles is happening whether we like it or not. That's the truth. So there is no point resisting it. There's no point building up your barricades and defences towards it. You need to be flowing. You need to be trusting. You need to be like the waterfall. The waterfall finds the path of least resistance. It falls. That card just got stuck to my elbow, which is the card of moving away, from a situation, from the Three of Cups energy, which it's all gone, it's all lost, No, you still got your cup. Get in your boat and go. See where the tide takes you. See where the wind takes you. It's not as hard as we're making it out to be. If we can lean back into Spirit's arms and guidance. This is another one from this deck. Emergence, yeah, look at that, you see. Dragonfly, Emergence. That's a beautiful card, actually. That's a lovely card for this whole weekend. Dragonfly, Emergence. Emerging to the new. Emerging from the ashes. Emerging into who you really are. Coming up for air. Again, that's that metaphor of air, coming up for air. Let's use the air elemental. Oh, I got it, yeah. Interesting as well. I mean, this isn't going to be the colour probably for the Joseph bottle. This is just a prototype. We're actually going to do it blue and brown, I think, because brown is the earth and Joseph was a carpenter, so it's a nod to wood. And blue is linked into the masculine. So, but anyway, for now, can you see they're the same colours? We've got the air and we've got Joseph in the same colour bottle, which I rather like. Okay, let's have a message from the air elemental. Or whatever wants to come through. Air. Let's just take some nice deep breaths of air I'm hearing. Breathing in air. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Remember to breathe, guys. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in life. Breathing out. Problem solved. Oh, I feel better now. The breath of life. Dreamtime, creation. Create the life. Create the life you wish to live. Don't settle for that. That's being trapped by your own shadows, your own fears, what society says you should be doing. Again, going back to what I've been saying about be an individual, be creative. Look at that. I don't know what that's called, but that long, great big instrument there, shamanic instrument. I know it's called something, but you know, imagine blowing that. Look at the wondrous stuff that comes out of that. Seems to be a lot of watery energy around, actually, for the fact that we've got a summer solstice, certainly here. There is actually, oh, yeah, okay, we've got flash flooding actually going on in the UK at the moment. So maybe that's what that's all about. There's a lot of rain energy coming in for this summer solstice, certainly in the UK. Oh dear, itchy nose. There is going to be a lot of rain. Okay, we're escaping the worst of it down in my little part of the world, but there's been a lot of flash flooding. So, okay guys, I hope that helped anyway. Sending you lots of love. Take care of yourselves, and I will be back very soon. I never normally say this, but please do like and subscribe to my channel, because people are getting unsubscribed every day from my channel and it's actually getting a bit irritating. They're not unsubscribing themselves. YouTube's doing it. So, you know, let's play them at their own game. Let's create what we want to create here. Much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.